10 seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists S Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum for Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. Hope you've had a great week so far, and hope you got some comic books this week, because we did, and we're going to talk about them later, and we'll have all kinds of fun. So we welcome your comments, whether you're watching us live or on the reruns. If you're watching on the reruns, leave a comment below. We'll try to answer you, okay? And so all that's left now is to tell you that we are sponsored tonight, as usual, by Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. That's right. If you've gone to all the effort to create a great book or a comic book or what have you, and you want some graphics to help sell that that work of art of yours, then you need to contact Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. Go to their Facebook page and check out all the published covers that they've got available, that you can get an idea of how talented Jeffrey Hayes is. Then go over to plasmafiregraphics.com, where you can see more examples, and you can contact Jeffrey for his independent, creator-friendly rates. You'll be very astonished and pleased to work with Plasma Fire Graphics. I've worked with them on many accounts, and in fact, they did my latest book, The Lost Adventures of Captain Hawkland, The Skyhook Remnant. You'll want to check that out, available now on Amazon. And please check out Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. We're also a part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Take a look at this card here. We've got all kinds of great stuff still happening tonight. We're going to be followed by Stupid O'Clock, a great geek conversation show, and then Last Man Standing at 11 p.m. and a full day's worth of broadcasting tomorrow. So please go to our Facebook page, give us a like, and follow all our shows. We've got quite a variety of shows to offer you. And also, please check out our Patreon account at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris, where you can help support the Rising Tide mission and get your name on this card, and your name will be immortalized forever. And now we're gonna, here's what you've been waiting on. You didn't want to see me. You want to see these guys here. Here that we are, the Fab Five. And we've got Clyde Hall, Pro Slayer S Hawkins, Jody McFee, and Brian Rodman, looking all erudite with that pipe in his mouth. How are you gentlemen tonight?
Splendid, sir.
Excellent, excellent. So we've got stuff planned, including reading your comments, which are getting more voluminous as we go. So we better hurry up and introduce ourselves. So we'll go around the room here. We'll start with Clyde Hall and go clockwise, because anything else I say confuses people. So let's start with Clyde. Clyde, tell everyone who you are and why you are so amazing.
In a desert oasis, littered with fawning fan praises and too many back issues infested with spiders and bats, I reside in the cool oasis of creativity that is the Rising Tide Broadcast Network.
Ooh.
I'm Clyde Hall, independent author and contributing writer at Comics Bookcase, where every Wednesday we post the finest NCBD new comics reviews, news, and interviews. You can find it at www.comicsbookcase.com. I also have features and reviews that appear at www.doomrocket.com. Go there and subscribe to their weekly podcast, Casual Wednesdays. You'll be glad you did. I'm also a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. My work has appeared in their anthology series, Pulp Reality 1, 2, and 3, with several other projects coming up this year. They are available on Amazon, and you should also go to www.stormgatepress.com to see the full variety of publications we have in the new pulp genre, because we have folks like, I don't know, Brian K. Morris,
Ooh.
Charles F. Milhouse, Ted
Hey.
Davies, Candace Camilleri, Stephen Burks, Bobby Nash, Scott Donnelly, Carl Dietrich, and soon Brian Rodman will be featured there too.
Yay!
And I get to hang out with these wacky, wonderful weirdos most Thursdays for NCBD +1 at Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you so much, Clyde. And now here is the Pro Slayer himself, Eric S. Hawkins. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, I'm Eric.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric.
Eric.
A man of few words.
No, that's it, really. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. We're moving on then. And Joe, the floor is yours. Tell everybody who you are.
I was hoping for a chair. I guess I could take all the floor. I don't know.
You got the floor and all the dirt on it.
Exactly. I'm Joe D. McFee. I'm the president of Agency Studios, also creator of Amazonian Primetime Saturday Night. And I have my own show from the Desk of the Small Press Publisher right here on this same broadcast network. And I'm a contributor here to the Comic Book Spectrum.
Yay. All right. And that's it?
Yeah, that's pretty
Okay,
much it.
well, you guys are really good trying tonight.
You gave me an objective.
Everybody knows who we are.
Maybe you four, sure, but I'm making obscurity sexy again. And speaking of sexy again, there he is, Brian Rodman.
I thought you were coming back to me. Oh.
Happy now? Anyway. So anyway,
if only he'd been picking his nose at that precise moment, that would have been. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Oh, okay, Brian. Tell anyone who might want to follow you now who you are.
If you like boogers, you'll like me. My name's Brian Rodman, and you can find me at brianrodman.com. I also like long walks on the beach, a tall glass of sweet red wine, and cats, as you can see. I'm the author and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel and The Nebulizer. I am also 1/4 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast. If you missed this week's episode, definitely go back and check out the replay. It was awesome. Everybody from Comic Book Spectrum, except for Clyde, were on the show this week, and we talked about the tips, tricks, techniques, and tools, including Chad Nuss, of the creative process as indie creators. It was a lot of fun. It was great to have these guys on the show. And it was great to have you guys in the comments section. So go back, check that out. Other than that, you can find me on patreon.com, because if I don't say this, Joe will kill me. And we're doing my nieces and I are teaming up for a really cool comic book series called Princess Warriors. Go to patreon.com/Brian Rodman and check it out. It's a lot of fun. So that's all for me.
Do you know why I always get on you about the Patreon?
Because I don't talk about it much?
No, because you also train up the next generation that comes after us. That's so important to make certain that people go out there and read what they're working on.
I do have to tell you, they're having a blast with this. So we're actually gonna have our a business meeting in the next couple of weeks. So I'll be posting pictures of that. It'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, that'll be great.
Who's bringing the donuts?
Me, because if I tell them to bring the donuts, you just don't want those kind of donuts.
Good man. Thank you, Brian. And definitely check that out, because that new feature of Brian's on his Patreon has been a delight to read. It really has. And speaking of delights, Anyway, I'm an independent publisher. I'm Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance writer, editor, award-winning playwright, former mortician's assistant, and Facebook famous YouTuber and former birthday boy. The bloom is off the rose now, and I can be treated normally. Anyway, if you want to find out more about me, go to risingtide.pub. We have just released 2 days ago our monthly newsletter. You can sign up for the next issue for free. It'll be out on April 1st. And you'll see a full listing of where I'll be making personal appearances, including one this Saturday at Kokomo Con, the first of the two this year. We're going to be at the Baymont by Wyndham in Kokomo at 1709 East Lincoln Road. And also, I'm up for, I will probably post the link later, but I'm actually up for a writing award. And thank you guys for voting, who have already, and including these fine gentlemen here. But I'm up for Best Short Story of the Year, which you can purchase. It's called Snow Ambition, and it's available on Amazon for 99 cents right now. Also in the second Abraham Snow anthology. That's a little bit more, but I'm worth it. Anyway, I'm only going by what other people tell me. But anyway, that's what I've got going here, and we're gonna get ready for some fall to roll here, I am sure, and some creative conversation and on comics, news, views, and reviews. Yes, I wrote it down because it sounded good. Anyway, let's get to the comments already, and we're going to start with Donna Carley. Carlene gets comfy and lights her cigar. Ooh. Excellent. And Carl Witzman made it. Glad to see you both here. Yep. Well,
is Donna feeling better?
Yes, both of them are feeling better.
I didn't ask about Carl.
Well, Carl, I still love you. Okay, but yeah, they are both feeling better, and they have a brand new cat, so it's all good. And I thought that Poirot would never solve that double poisoning, but he pulled through in the end. I think it's a oblique reference to their situation. Of course, he did. The little gray cells always come through, and he has to he has to go to the bathroom. Oui. Okay, anyway.
Yes. Oui, mon chéri.
That's right.
But now the little brain, the little gray cells must turn to the comics and laughter. Ha ha!
Good night. I suspect that someone made an attempt to kill Monsieur Rodman through that laughter.
I'm
we
sure
try
that
every
will
week.
happen. They do, yeah. They try. Every week is a contest to my demise.
That's right. So stay tuned. We're going to have what they call good television.
Wait till you get to my comment in the chat.
Oh, dear God in heaven. Anyway, that's always a possibility, says Donna. And we're glad to say hello to Sarah. Sarah Moi, the new working girl here. And Sarah. Hey, Sarah. Carl, Donna, and they're Shared. Who's Shared? Sheriff's in the audience. Holy cats. This is great. I've been following you ever since you divorced Sonny, okay? Anyway, Ryan, I'm glad to see you here. Hope you're doing well. And how are you? He's wearing his CBS shirt tonight, giving us the Ric Flair. Woo! And as far as I know, that's all he's wearing. So try to dismiss that. And who's the winner now? Ted, who's the proud owner of the Shadow Slab. That's right.
That's right. Exactly.
Well
Way
done,
to
sir.
go.
Well done.
Way to go, Ryan. If you watched last week, you'll see that in the later part of the show that Ryan Permison had a chance to buy the 1970s #1 DC Shadow comic by Denny O'Neil and Bernie Wrightson, and despite a furious race,
Mike Kaluta.
Mike Kaluta, excuse me, that's right, Mike Kaluta. Bernie Wrightson did inked a couple issues later. That's right. Thank you for correcting me. But anyway, I don't know where my brain stores all this crap. You know, it's like I can't find my way. If I go out through the front door, I can't find my way back in. But I know, who letters stuff and who colors.
Brian looks at Clyde. Never correct me in public.
Yeah.
Looks like we're going to have another meeting after the show, Clyde. Thanks.
We lost Clyde's feed. Apparently he's offline.
Only thing I picture is Brian going like, why did Clyde do a Glenn Fleming to me? Only Glenn does that awful stuff to me. while we're live.
That's right. They're all gang on me. Where's those little steel balls like Humphrey Bogart in the K Mutiny? You know?
Oh no!
No. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't want to spread misinformation. I leave that for other shows. Ooh, Brian. Anyway, Ryan has that #1 shadow from DC Comics in a slab, a really high grade, if I remember correctly, and
9.3, I think, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was 9.4 CBCS.
Yeah, nice copy and an excellent price. So way to go, Ryan, and hail to Frog G. Good to see him, my man. Good to see you. And he urges you to tickle the algorithm, smash the like, and dingle the bells and subscribe. I was dingling my bell. No, never mind. Anyway, Frog G is here, and we're glad you're here, Frog. As always, hail to you. And Sarah, I did get some comics today, and within a specific budget. Yay and success. Looking forward to hearing about yours. Well, that is excellent, Sarah. That's super. And Ryan Permisson says, I'm officially a manga fan. So far, I like Dragon Ball Z and Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Which makes apparently not a unanimous
it's like he's not reading the good stuff as of yet.
Oh, he's
Full Metal Alchemist.
Stuff.
Yes, I will give him a pass for Full Metal Alchemist, but DVC is still popcorn theater. It's still popcorn theater.
Don't listen to this hater. Dragon Ball Z is amazing. It's so wonderful.
I've not read either one, actually. I need to catch up.
The show's better. The show's better than the manga. Yeah.
No, don't read Z. Read Super.
I haven't read Super yet, so I can't say.
But, yeah. So again, don't listen to that guy right there. Just as of yet, I'm telling you right. I'm telling you right.
Well, and I'm just sitting here thinking there are about 4.5 million different manga titles. Mm-hmm. It's like, and when I'm saying, well, gosh, I haven't read that one. Well, that leaves about 4 million more that I haven't read. So, I understand. But anyway, we'll agree to disagree, but we will agree that Damian Walbrin is an awesome person. Hello, you good and fine people. Want nothing from me? I mean, come on. Anyway, Damien, love you, man. And we've got a question from Ryan Permisson. We will get to that after we finish the reviews, as always, Ryan. So please stick around. Everyone's saying hello. And if you're not reading the new She-Hulk series,
that's going to be a sleeper hit.
Okay, there we go.
It's going to be a sleeper hit.
It is now official.
After the second issue, because remember what I said after reviewing the first one. It's going to be a sleeper hit.
That is true. That is true. And Frog G is saying hello to Carl. Everyone's saying hello. And Ted Davies Artistry. Good evening, superheroes and Hawkins. Anyway, good to see you.
Eric's our own superhero.
That's right. He's the pro slayer for a reason.
Exactly.
So anyway, he said hello, and ready for raucous fun. Carl, you are in the proper place for that.
You know who else is ready? Luna. You ready? Are you ready for fun, baby? Huh? Look at her butt. Look at it.
Put me down and give me a treat, human.
That's exactly.
She's more like,
give me some
cat butt.
She was like, what? No water? I'm out of here.
Yeah. Stop waving my nether regions to those idiots out there.
Rodman, you have seen the George Carlin Dogs and Cat bit, haven't you?
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And Rad Publishing, Rick Bradley, good to see you, superstar. Good evening, all. In a traffic jam on I-57 heading home, so I'll be listening till I get there. So I've been on I-57 this time of night. He will be hearing not only our show, but also stay tuned, Rick, to Stupid O'Clock and Last Man Standing. In fact, let's see, 57. In fact, I'll be on tomorrow on Never Mind the Furthermore at 10 a.m. So good luck. And who are you people? Where am I? Why is it hot? And what am I doing in this handbasket?
Just stay there. Just go along with it, Damien. It'll be fine.
That's right. And
it puts a lotion on the skin.
Where we go, we need no rails.
I was about to say, if you're looking for the rails, that maybe you may have a good chance there. And Rodman, according to Mr. Eric Hawkins, Rodman also likes pina coladas and getting caught in the rain.
If you like pina coladas, they getting caught in the rain. That's right.
There is a YouTube channel I just discovered called Professor of Rock, and he interviewed the guy who did that song,
Rupert Holmes.
Rupert Holmes. Yes, and Rupert,
who's a very ugly man, I must say.
he was pretty back in the day, and I have
no, he was never pretty.
I have no reason.
Well,
to
Brian
cast
was attracted to him at least.
Yeah, well, he's clever, and he's also a great playwright too. He went into writing musicals and plays. Yeah, seriously, I saw one that was based on the Mystery of Edwin Drood, and the fun thing was. Oh, we lost. He apparently is not a Rupert Holmes fan.
You offended him deeply.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, he's got to get a pina colada. But anyway, no. Rupert Holmes wrote the Mystery of Edwin Drood, and the audience gets to vote on who committed the murder and who gets married. And we voted, and our friend Julia Megan Sullivan, God bless you, she got to be the murderer. She was very happy. Welcome back, Joe.
Yep.
We missed you.
It's been so long. Anyway, the thing is, the two that got voted to marry each other were brother and sister in the play.
Oh,
and so she's up there. The preacher's just going on with the ceremony. She's up there bawling her eyes out, and the groom is like, "You sick bastards! You!" I'm sorry, the audience.
Luke, Leah, say it ain't so.
It was a lovely evening of theater, but also the thing is, the main thing about that the episode of Professor of Rock on YouTube was Rupert Holmes. Also, this is a little trivia no one can use. He has written the finest rock song ever, dealing with cannibalism. Yes. It's a song called Timothy, and he wrote it for a group called The Boys, like a buoy that bobs in the water. And he did it to get notoriety for the group. And the station owners were playing the song, and it was like shooting up the charts. And it was about two guys that get lost, or three guys that get lost in a mine accident. Only two of them come out, but everyone's bellies are full. And it's kind of not that subtle. And Holmes deliberately wrote that to get controversy, and so the stations play it. Then after about a week, the station managers actually listen to it, and they're like, "Oh dear God!" and they cancel it. So everyone calls in and says, "Why aren't you playing Timothy?" And goes, "We don't want you to hear that. You tell a teenager that."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the thing just shot up the charts. But anyway, check out Professor of Rock. It is a great show, and he does. I can vouch. See, Damien Walburn will. Yeah. There we go. Mm-hmm. And Cool Gamer, hello to you. Glad to have you here. Hope you're having a great night. And yes, sweetie, I'm feeling much better. And everyone's saying hello. And Cindy Cap, CKOEPP.com. Please check out our great website. Happy day after your birthday, Brian. Thank you, Cindy Cap, and thank you for your well wishes. I appreciate that. And speaking of the shadows, says Sarah, I still have a special gift for you with additions someday. That's all for tonight, folks. Goodbye. Anyway,
wow.
But yeah. How easily I'm swayed. I'm looking forward to it, Sarah. We're going to have SarahCon this year. And we are in the presence of greatness now. We have a visit from the one, the only Mr. Luke Stone.
Hey, Luke, how you doing, buddy?
Luke.
Good to see you, brother. And check out his brand new show on the Raging 2 Network. I'm not afraid to promote them.
Morning Bacon.
Wow. Yes, Nerd Bacon.
Yeah, Morning Bacon.
Nerd Bacon.
Nerd Bacon, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic show with Nicholas Anthony Tockard, who is part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Great show. Love checking it out this morning, Luke. And we're glad you're here. Hope you enjoy your stay. And Cindy Cap, on the matter of anime manga, says, I tried watching Saint Seiya, I think it is, The Lost Canvas. After 20 episodes, it didn't end. It just stopped. Huh?
That's frustrating.
Yeah, that is. It sounds like it's exciting comics from Antarctic. But anyway, Carl is. I just slipped this stuff in. What can I say? Oh, and Luke now has. Yeah. Waiting for somebody to pick that up. But Luke Stone officially has announced that he has no filters. That he has come out of his COVID coma with no filters. And I feel so close to him right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Carl Witzman is calling out the name of his Lord and Savior, Luna. And are there clouds in the coffee?
Always.
I'm not sure. There's something in there, but Probably gin. But anyway,
Probably what?
Gin.
Oh, okay.
It's a grown-up drink. It's
a
how I get.
grown-up drink.
It's how I get through my days. Okay. You thought I was addicted to caffeine. Ha ha! I'm multi.
He thought it was another G word, I think.
Yep.
Oh,
Ooh.
not me. Never.
Oh,
I've
boy.
never said anything like that.
Yeah, ginger.
Ginger.
Right,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
it. Yeah. But like, gee, let's read what Cindy Kemp has to say. Hello, Cindy, and everyone's saying hello. And got to run already. Well, we love you, Sarah. Mwah. Hope you can catch us on the rerun. And yep, we got verification. No filters at all. Inside thoughts just fall right out of the mouth hole. Welcome to my world, Luke.
So you're in good company, buddy.
I am, man. I'm
Yeah.
honored. I've
None of
been
us have control over our holes either.
Exactly. I have heard that. In fact, last time I was at the truck stop, I never. His name's Artistry is listing his price for a sketch now, strippers and blow. So anyway.
They broke Eric.
Strippers that blow.
Oh, and Luke Stone says that's what she said. Oh, we may have to have a 6th member in here one of these days. Anyway,
Maybe so.
yeah, it sounds good.
He already claimed the spot already.
That's true. He has. So, one of these times, if one of us drops out, we've got our designated pinch hitter there. So, it's something to live for, Luke. I know. Look how happy Joe D is. Now that he's part of this group. See,
Mm-hmm.
It's changed his life, and I swear he will get even if it's the last thing he does. But anyway, but speaking of which, to play game, Joe, would you like to start us out on the reviews this week?
Yeah, we can go ahead because I got the green screen off now because we can see.
Yeah,
the book.
we'll be able to see what it is.
Right.
Wait, I want to vote. What are we voting for?
Oh, there's no vote this week. There's no vote this week.
There's no vote.
Okay,
shipment of
no,
books
I will
is not
announce there
coming
is a
in
vote.
time.
Do you want the book that's in Joe's left hand or in the one in his right hand, and he's holding it with both hands? Okay, how's that? And there we go. And Luke says that's why I fought my way back. There, see,
Yeah.
this show saves lives. I'm telling you, and it's changed Joe's life. He's just not sure that it's for the better. Says Carl Winston.
That's true, but it's definitely not for the worse. So
There
that's
we
a
go.
good food for thought.
Not for the worse yet.
Yeah, we're only 27 minutes into this
Exactly.
thing, so
Just
a
give
lot
us
can
time.
change.
Well, that's 27 minutes into this one, considering that I have been a contributing member, for this particular season for maybe several weeks now.
Yeah, you've been pretty
Oh, yeah.
regular.
Yeah, it could be.
You're
It
doing
could be. Like I said, it's definitely not for the worse. For the better,
For the neutral, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
climbing his way to the middle. That's our Joe. But anyway,
We're
Yeah.
Schrodinger's podcast right now, folks. That's what's happening.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, Joe, what you got for us?
So if you remember last week, we had a
I
choice
do.
of two, and you guys, I think you ended up picking. What did you guys pick last week?
Was it
I
G.I.
can't
Joe
even
last
remember.
week?
Yep. G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe's. Yeah, the Saturday morning adventures. Again, story wise, but it gave you those feels. It was a good nostalgia trip. So
I'm
we're
all
going
about
to do the
feels.
other book. So we're going to do the other book that was up for that particular evening, which is Ant number 2. And this is done by Eric Larson, and I believe he pretty much did all the artwork except for the lettering, which was Jack Morelli, and the flash was done by Mike Torres, last name Toris. So that's kind of weird, weird spelling of it. But this particular issue made me second guess Eric Larson.
Ooh.
And the reason I second guess is because being that, I'm not a big Image Comics fan. especially 90s Image. But he did a few books in the Image 90s that I actually paid attention to. You know, he did Freak Force. You know, he did, you know, I read a few issues of Savage Dragon. You know, he was doing those stories that were off the wall, brand new and fresh, and had decent ideas bringing it forth to the table. Here, he's bringing back somebody else's IP, and I'm just not going to say my thoughts just right now. I'm just going to deal with the book itself here. So if you remember, I also did issue number 1 here on this particular show. And pretty much, you know, we got the origin story of the main character here. And, you know, pretty much at the very end, she ended up teaming up with the guy that actually, you know, sent the hit out on her father. So issue number 2 starts out with her in the middle here fighting some foreign soldiers here, but it doesn't tell you why just as of yet. It just, you know, started just in the middle of the story. And like I said, I will get to my feelings a little bit later, but you know, have her fighting, and it's like, you know, good schedule, pictorial and everything. And then you turn the page and now she's in a straitjacket. As if she, you know, as if she's going crazy and everything. And she's saying that she's innocent and whatnot, and you know, they think that she's dangerous, and technically she is. You have to understand that at this point of the story, only thing that we know is that she has this ability now to turn with all these tentacles and stuff, and she's very deadly when that is activated. And she's still dealing with the death of her father. So they show this, and then we have the guy that actually sent the people over there to kill his father talking about, you know, we need to get her stable. She has to become like a weapon. We can't really deal with her, you know, getting loose like she's been doing. We have to, you know, pull the reins on her a bit. So while that had happened, we jump to another part of the story where we actually meet her mom for the first time. And her mom was up here trying to console her because she was, you know, she understood that she's still dealing with her father's death. And then when she happens to mention that, you know, that she wished that she had the power of the ant for her father to be alive, that facial expression right there, it was just like the key thing here, because she knows that she has the power, but she didn't know what actually happened to her, because that was the last thing that her father did, was to inject her with that serum that made her what she is now. So her mother has no idea at this point. Now this then flashes back to, you know, the guy that wanted the serum and whatnot, and then all of a sudden we have a big old hole where she breaks out again. And then we got kind of like a flashback about how she was bullied, you know, still dealing with her bullying. Now, even with her being bullied and whatnot, she still have this ability, and for some reason it doesn't get triggered whatsoever. Then it jumps back to the whole, you know, the guy that wants the serum, or using the main character as pretty much like a weapon. He's just up here still applying, you know, trying to minimize whatever damage that she can cause while she's out there by herself. So she's walking alone and everything, and then she gets into a bit of a trouble and whatnot and everything. And, you know, in a dark alley, and they came after her, and next thing you know, here comes the police. They see that, you know, she's, you know, messed up, being up and everything, but they also see all these dead bodies. They pretty much arrest her. And the guy that, you know, was over the program that her father was a part of, pretty much was getting on top of them, talking about, we cannot let this up. We have to clean up the publicity behind this. We can't let people know of what she's truly capable of doing. So at that point, that's when she actually starts her legitimate training. They actually trained her to fight and whatnot and everything. One thing led to another, and they sent her on her very first operation. And in this operation, she's, jumped into some place in like the Middle East and whatnot, and pretty much they got overran by all these soldiers. So the troops that she was with, we don't know where they're at, but it's just completely surrounded. One thing led to another, all this fight scenes and whatnot, made for good action. One teammate that she's supposed to be working, with, that's supposed to have superpowers like her, got taken down. One thing led to another, and now she just goes completely lethal. Out of all the people that were there in that battle, that's what she did to them. After her teammate went down. And she had no remorse. She had no remorseful thoughts after that had happened. And then out of nowhere, she just collapsed. And we find out why. The one person that she trusted from the organization shut her off. It states that he's feeling guilty now, and he no longer can allow them to use her as a weapon. And it ends there. Overall, the tail end of this book was okay as far as the action and everything, but to me, the story is so disjointed because of the simple fact it's not telling a coherent story. You're setting up so many different premises, but not really touching on the premises. It's like she's still dealing with PTSD, dealing with her father's death. You got an individual who's pretty much manipulating her, pretending to be an ally of her father, but yet having her to do stuff like this up under his control and trying to keep the secret about what her father really worked on, which she was injected with. Then the guy at the very end, it's like, why all of a sudden he had remorse, knowing good and well that he could have warned her father that the guy was going to send troops after him anyway in issue number 1. And then seeing what she's capable of doing and understanding that they're trying to use her as a weapon. Now, after she kills pretty much almost a whole nation's army, now you're going to have remorse that you can't, you have to set her mind free that she's on a tight leash and she have to be controlled that way. It just seems the storytelling is just disjointed in that aspect here. Again, it makes me feel like I'm reading Image 90s types books again. And that's not cool. It makes me think that Eric Larson lost a step in the writing department. Because for some reason he loves to do like the sketch version of this type of stuff, because the back of the book was showing like a lot of the thumbnails and the sketching behind like this issue at the very tail end of the book about how he goes about dealing with pages for these issues and whatnot. And he likes the sketchy style for at least this character. I myself, not a big fan of it, but I get it. I could overlook art. I can't overlook story. That's just me. I just can't overlook story. And I just feel that his writing is falling off as a result of this. It's not a bad book. At least this issue is not a bad issue. So overall, if out of a 10-point scale, I would have to give it a 6. But I'm giving it a 6 mainly because you set up all these different premises, but you're not really exploring it, and you're telling it in such a path that the parts does not equate to one another. It's like one moment you're talking about how much you have to keep her safe, and then another moment you see her in a straitjacket being monitored. And then on the next moment, it's like now you're showing her with her mother, and the one conversation that she had with her mother set something off in her where she's escaped. But we have no aspect of timeline of how all of this stuff is happening. You just throw it at us, and you expect us to, manipulate the timeline of how things may have happened. And the fact that she's dealing with PTSD, it's like, is this all in memory? You're not giving us indication that this is how she's, all the stuff is flashing back in her mind. If she's, here now currently just dealing with being a part of this one team on the battlefield. None of that stuff was clear. And because of that, I have to, bump the book down to where I said as 6. But overall, so far, the series is not that bad. I just wish I would have had more of the classic Eric Larson writing you would have got with like a Savage Dragon or Freak Force. Right now, I'm not too happy with him taking over this IP of Ant, because Ant was a very good series prior to the IP being sold to him. I see him being able to take it to the next level, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get there if he continues on this course. So that's just my humble opinion about it. I want you guys to actually pick it up and read it and tell me if I'm that far off on it, because I know there's a lot of Eric Larson fans. I know there's a lot of Savage Dragon fans out there. There might still be a few Freak Force fans out there, but then again, not too many people read that. But I know there's a lot of Savage Dragon fans out there. So if you're a fan of Eric Larson, I know you probably picked up a few issues of Ant. And I know Ant number 3 is coming out soon. I can't remember when this month is coming out, but
next week.
Next week, yeah.
Yep.
So next week, next week, issue 3 comes out, and guess what? You do have a Spawn appearance in it. So it may be worthwhile just to see what he does and how he brings this character into the limelight with Spawn being in the issue. I'm curious about that, or else I would have been like, yeah, I might not pick up another issue, but it still got my attention because, like I said, I was a fan of the original IP of Ant, and seeing what Eric Larson is doing now, and I'm up here like, I'm not that impressed, but I don't understand what his end game is as of yet. And until I understand what his end game is with writing this, I might have problems with the series as a whole. But like I said, I want you guys to read it. If I miss anything, tell me about it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joe.
His art looked a little lazy compared to what it used to be.
Yeah.
No rendering in the inks, no shading, no cross hatching. Very little. I mean, I did see a little bit, but yeah, it looked lazy compared to what used to be.
Keeping it very sketch-like, and I don't understand why he's doing it. But even at the tail end of the first 2 issues, you get to see the layouts of what he was thinking and how it's being formulated. But he doesn't go into the more polished aspect of it for some reason.
Well, that's a shame. And that's you brought up a good point that I'd like to say that anybody, if you get any of the issues that we review on here,
and you don't like it, Brian will reimburse you.
Yep, if he will.
That's right. Mr. Rodman will send you a check. This is why I got my name.
It might bounce, but I'll send it.
We'll have his autograph on it. That's worth more than anything.
Right. Yeah.
So, but anyway, please let us know. We'll leave a comment after you finish
You can
reading
send
it.
out Rising Tide bucks.
There you go.
I like that.
They're good at any Rising Tide store.
Just like Shroom bucks.
Yeah.
There we go. I love it. Anyway, thank you so much, Joe. Good review. And speaking of good, there is the beautiful Keisha Acuff, part of the Rising Tide Network. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, beautiful you. And Rick Radley says, finally made it home. I had to pull over and fit on my Apocalypse Mad Max accessories and plow through people. That one cop was not happy. Well, he's probably had a rough day. Anyway, also, if you want to do an episode about video games based on comic books, holler at me. That's a pretty decent idea. Eric says, Rick wants an Atari Force review. I'm down with that. I love the old Atari Force. That was beautifully done.
I'm surprised that they haven't brought it back, but then again, the new Atari system hasn't been all that popular as of yet either.
Yeah, and it's like, do they have an active Atari Force game right now? Now, I think that one of the minor companies, I think, reprinted those old Atari Force stories. Not, like a year or two ago. I'd have to look.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Katya Komarova, I'm sorry you couldn't stay, but it seems that Carl Witzman has dealt with her.
I have information about that.
Oh, yes, sir.
I finally, it got to me, all these comments, because they're in every live chat I'm in. And what it is a porn site. It is a porn phishing site, and it is a website. It's not a link. So you have to manually take it, put it in the website. I watched a video on it. I did not do it. But the guy researched it, and all these little names point to this one Russian porn site that steals your information.
Well,
and YouTube just keeps allowing it.
Yeah, well, they probably can't keep up with it. Is the thing?
Oh, I'm sure they could put something in place.
Well, that's the thing, and especially right now. And I know I'm not the only one that reads the a newspaper. Remember those? Anyway, right now we are under great cyber attacks from those guys, and so it pays right now to be careful, which is why we have not put that any of these on the screen. And Rad Publishing goes, "I bet you watched a video, Eric." Yes, he was doing all his research on Pornhub.
Yeah,
well, that's it. Well, that's the thing. It's like
what hub? What's that?
Pornhub.
Check that out.
It's someplace that Ted Davies told me about. But anyway, but no, it's kind of funny because Pornhub is denying service to Russia right now. Boy, I tell you, we're going to bring those guys to their knees now. They can't get that. Oh, and here's the big irony. I found this out yesterday morning that Apple has canceled its regular services like Apple Pay, and Google has also canceled Google Pay in Russia. Guess what morning commuters use to pay for their subway tokens?
Bitcoin.
Well, that's coming. But anyway, but no, they use Google and Apple Pay, and suddenly there was this picture of this long line of people trying to get into the platform because they couldn't pay for it now. So anyway, and commies gone wild. That's right. That'll be the next big video coming from.
Yeah, because the poor Russian people are the ones doing the invading.
Right? Yeah, I was like, they're the ones that I feel the most sorry for, right now, man. Like,
let's attack them back.
Right? Yeah, they don't like Putin either.
Yeah, did you see the, not to get into the real life things here, but I saw a picture of a protest in downtown Moscow. It looked like what Trump thought his inauguration looked like. It was all the width of the street as long as the camera could capture people, so we may be seeing some political change here soon. We're with you, Ukraine. Anyway.
Sorry.
Oh, he's not sorry. He's Brian Rodman, and he's up next.
Yes.
All right. Up next, what? Oh,
up next to the wall. Assume the position.
So, I'll give you 3 guesses as to what kind of book I'm reviewing tonight, and 2 don't count. That's right, Hellboy.
What?
And I know, right? No, I am reviewing Hellboy and the Silver Lantern Club, which is just, my review is not going to be very long tonight. It is a lot of fun. And I don't really have a whole lot more to say. You'll see.
Okay, you didn't read the book.
I have no clue what's in here. No, actually, no. I totally read the book, but I have only read this.
Astonished at you.
I know. No, the story was by Mike Mignola and Chris Robertson. This was interesting. Pages 1 through 3 and page 20 is done by Ben Stenback. Pages 4 through 19 is done by Christopher Mitten. Colors are by Michelle Matson. Letters by Clem Robbins. The cover was by Mike Mignola and Christopher Mitten, with Dave Stewart. And then we've got the president and publisher, and I'm not going to read all that. Essentially, this is a throwback issue. It's back when it's just I love when they're going back and they're doing all these Hellboy BPRD throwback stories, which they're just so much fun. But we open up with Professor Broom, a younger Professor Broom, and Hellboy as they are walking the streets of London, and they're on their way to a pub to see Professor Broom's uncle, Simon. And the minute that I saw this man, I heard all of his dialogue in Sean Connery's voice for the rest of the comic. And the premise of so far there's 4 issues. I think there's only going to be 4 issues in this title, but it's literally just the 3 of them sitting in a pub and listening to Simon tell stories about this group that he was a part of called the Silver Lantern Club. And if you for those of you who follow Hellboy, that is the Witch Finder. He is in this Silver Lantern Club. And we get, of course, some classic Mignola style monsters, which are wonderful. And there's some really cool witty banter between Hellboy, Professor Broom, and Simon Broom. And it's just, I love when they do this kind of stuff. Simon Broom starts talking about, the old days Silver Lantern Club, and it flips over to a just an old photograph of this group. And of course, I immediately go back to like the Order of the Phoenix from Harry Potter. Like it's that kind of feel. Like you see this, this older, seasoned ghost hunter who is, he's going back in the tavern where he and his friends used to meet. And it's you kind of get the vibes of like the Order of the Phoenix, the Inklings with C.S. Lewis and George R. R. Martin, no, J.R.R. Tolkien. And
someone just rolled over in his grave.
I know, right? Multiple times. And so Simon Broom starts telling them a story of this demon who possessed the first wireless telegraph, and he's at this science display of the first wireless telegraph, and they start to play it, and this demon's voice starts coming out, and of course everybody in the audience is like, "Oh my gosh, this is great! This is so fun and wonderful!" And the guys in charge are like, "Wait, no, this is not what it's supposed to happen." and so Simon's amazed, of course, because he doesn't realize what the language was coming out of the machine. So he goes back to the Monk's Head what the tavern is called. He goes back there, and the Silver Lantern Club are already meeting, and they're talking about just different types of exorcisms and different type of rituals to get rid of demons. It's very much this is very lighthearted. It's literally just focusing on a bunch of friends who get together. They're all ghost demon hunters. And throughout the story, Simon goes back to the Silver Lantern Club, starts telling them, everyone's talking about this, Edward Gray, who's the witch finder, and this lady are talking about a possession that went awry earlier in the day. And they were, they were in the middle of it. This demon completely leaves the person, but doesn't get banished to hell and completely disappears. And so they're talking about, where did it go? How do we find it? All these things. And Simon brings up, well, you should have seen what I saw today, this wonderful science display of the wireless telegraph. And it was really weird. Some odd language started coming out of it when they turned it on. And that's when this panel happens. And you see both of them just look at him and say, "What time did this happen?" and he tells them, and at the time absolutely coincided with their debacle and missing demon. So they go to the men who have the wireless telegraph, and they do some investigation, and lo and behold, of course, the demon is possessing the wireless telegraph. And they have an epic battle, and that's the story. It's just this fun little, and that's what these 4 issues are. It's Simon telling old Silver Lantern Club stories with Hellboy and Professor Broom. And this one was very simple. I've not read the other 3 yet, but I'm sure they're probably the same. There doesn't seem to be any kind of overarching story other than just friends reminiscing. And I mean, Mignola is still, he has, created this world so well that now he can come back and just tell random stories, for fun, because we're all acquainted with these characters. We all enjoy this world. And we just want to hear interesting one-off stories. Just to see Hellboy and Professor Broom together again is everything, because I love their relationship in the Hellboy universe. Overall, the artwork is great. The reason that the artists were different is when we go back in time to tell the Silver Lantern Club story, the art switches. It doesn't switch very drastically though, so I didn't really notice it the first time around until I saw that there were 2 different artists, and I was like, oh, so I'm not sure why they did it that way, because you really can't tell the difference. But you can definitely tell the difference on the cover, Mike Mignola's art and this other guy's. So I thought that was a cool, at least, attempt. The story was simple and fun and great. Overall, it wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything jaw-dropping, but it is a solid 8 out of 10. So all 4 issues are at your local comic book monger. So head there, pick them up. You'll enjoy the story if you love Hellboy.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And now we have got more comments. Donna Carley says he's not sorry. He's my brother. And and that's HE double hockey 6, says Cindy Cap. All right. And Lissy says hello, Lissy. Mwah, glad to see you. Everyone's saying hello. And Carl Witzman claims the demon still possesses the airwaves.
I don't doubt it.
I'd second that emotion. So
yeah.
Anyway, we're caught up with the comments again, but we're sure you've got more. Yeah, well, I'm talking fast. Anyway, and also we've got a question from Ryan Permison. Please stay tuned for that. Also, stay tuned for now, because we've got the Pro Slayer, Eric S. Hawkins, coming up to play.
So I only picked up 2 books this week, but I also picked up something else I find epic myself. I caught it on clearance at Walmart. Otherwise, I wouldn't have paid full price for this. But it's the Migo Young Frankenstein set. Written Frankenstein. Oh, it's so cool.
Running on the Ritz.
Yeah.
Loving it.
Yeah, because it's regular. It's like almost $50 regular. I saw it months ago. I was like, I ain't paying that. I like it. It's cool. I don't know what to do with them. I still don't know what I'm going to do with them. But when it got down to 20, I was like, I'm getting that. So I picked up 2 books. The first one I'm not reviewing, but it was the new issue of Moon Knight. Moon Knight's out of jail, which unfortunately I think the jail story comes out in Moon Knight Devil's Reign, which comes out next week. So I think this jumped a week. But this one's pretty cool. There's kind of like a demon-possessed house in that one. Not a radio or airwaves, but a house. So I picked up this from Dark Horse. Radio Spaceman.
Yes!
Mission to Numa 4. Written by Mike Mignola. He didn't do the art, but he did do the cover. And first, let's say this. I have never read a Hellboy book. I'm a fan of Mignola's artwork. I did not used to be back in my early 20s, late teens. It's just like, what's wrong with this guy? But as you get older, you start appreciating different styles of art and different things. And I have come to appreciate his art because as sloppy as it can look, I can't replicate it. I've tried. I can't do it. But so he wrote it, but he didn't do the art. But the guy that did the art, which I believe is Greg Hinkle, similar art style. I mean, it's kind of a sort of cartoony to a point. And this is I guess it's a futuristic story. Do you know anything about the background of this book, Rodman?
I don't actually. That's why I haven't picked it up yet. I haven't been able to go get it, but I can't wait to read it.
Well, either my comic shop didn't order a lot of them, or a lot of them sold out because there was only one there when I got there. It's a futuristic story. It starts out with this old man getting a telephone call, and come to find out he's actually on a spaceship. But he looks like he's in some kind of Victorian study. You got the old phone and stuff, and you got this little anatomic mannequin, I guess. But he picks up the call. You don't hear who's on the other line. So then you find out he's actually in a spaceship, and he activates the the crew, and they all got light bulbs on their head, and they light up, and they start working for him. and he plugs himself in and says to launch the spacecraft, and then you get what is it, Radio Spaceman. So I think it's some kind of avatar for this man. But you can go it's not common to go through this book 2 or 3 pages without any dialogue whatsoever. I thought Keanu Reeves had wrote this.
Ooh.
Because there is just now I'll tell you, there is a lot of sound effects. Like these 2 pages, there's no dialogue.
Gosh,
I
love that artwork. It's so
the art's
pretty.
good. I enjoyed the art. The story, though, I mean, there's not a lot to it. I'd like to read a little more. And sometimes, you need to find a good balance between reading a lot and too little. I want right in the middle. This one I was done in 10 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes I was done with this book. Then I had to go through again. Did I skip a page or something? Well, he has to go to this planet as the Radio Spaceman. And because this crew of other astronauts or scientists, something happened to them. They wrecked their spaceship, and one of the females is gone because another one of the scientists has taken her to Gragoon, I believe it was.
That's part by name.
Gargoon. Taking her to Gargoon to sacrifice her to Gargoon so she could be the bride of Gargoon. And so the Radio Spaceman has to fight off a bunch of dogs, it looks like, humanoid dogs. And then when he gets to the temple, he has to fight off a bunch of frogs.
Sure.
Yeah, and the art is good. I don't mind the art at all. It's cool.
Nicely done.
And then it ends with there's some kind of vampire lady that's apparently on the spaceship as well, who kills one of the dog creatures and turns into a bat and poof. Yeah, poof. Actually, it says poof and flies away. But there's very little story to it. It's mostly all art, and that's disappointing to me. I would like to have read a little more. At least learn a little bit about Radio Spaceman and not make assumptions. And there's only going to be 2 issues. I mean, it's
wait, that's the issue
series.
1 on top of that. That's the issue 1 on top of that.
That's an issue 1. Yeah, issue 1. 1 of 2. So as much as I kind of like it, I can't give it a high grade because it really doesn't tell me anything. The art's kind of cool to look at. The character designs are nice, but there's really no story to it. I mean, there's very little story. I mean, literally there's pages and pages of no dialogue, or 2 words. Here's another 2 pages, just 2 words. It's okay and contact, but sound effects, lots of sound effects. So I'll pick up number 2 because there is only one other issue to see if maybe it tells me a little more. But I gotta go 5 out of 10 on it. Now, if I rate on artwork alone, it would be at least an 8 out of 10. But story-wise and artwork, as a book, it's got to be a 5 out of 10.
Wow.
Not a ripping up score, but I'm a little disappointed. I thought it'd be a little cooler. Which I'm glad I got Moon Knight.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You got something to
You know,
you can actually read.
Jeff Lemire came out with a couple of books recently. Primordial was one of them. And Maze book. The Maze book really, the first issue really caught me. But as far as the writing for those, I mean, I expect something out of Lemire, and he was trying to do something different, and that's cool. But
Yeah.
I'm seeing people. It reminds me of what you're saying about Mignola with this issue. Is there's not a lot of writing to either one of those books. The artwork is phenomenal in both of them, and he does the artwork in May's book, but it just didn't feel finished. It felt about half cooked.
Yeah.
Writing wise. And it's kind of a trend right now. So I don't know what that means, but
Well, I was reminded.
Sounds like a
as
bunch
I
of
was-
creators are bored and phoning it in.
That could be. Because I was reading the book and I remember Brian Tuesday night, I believe he said,
Yeah.
Mignola does not like to write.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, this is evident.
I mean, he's
Swoosh. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot of sound effects.
he's so open about it. He's just like, I hate. Like he's a story guy. He's a plot guy, and then he. I think now, honestly, I think he knows his strengths now, and he doesn't have to draw or write dialogue because he hates writing dialogue. So I think he's more of just come up with the plot, get a writer, get an artist, let them have it. And that's probably where that's where he's been for almost 20 years now, really.
And
So to
you
jump back
actually-
into a writing.
Yeah, and you even take a look at the cover. I mean, you can picture Hellboy in that pose. You've probably seen Hellboy in that pose.
Yeah.
So I think he even dialed in the cover.
Yeah.
Like, I drew this a few times. Here we go. Boom, done.
To me, that sounds like Dark Horse going, "Hey, Mike, do this, please." And he's like, "All right, fine, whatever. Here you go."
Hey, Mike, how
Okay.
many more years on that contract?
Right? Yeah.
I got 10 minutes. I'll grind out a couple issues.
Exactly.
Oh, well, we have some encouragement here. Ted Davies goes, Hawkins, throw that comic.
All right.
You asked for it,
Yeah.
and it's gone. There we
There it
go.
is.
Hope you're happy now, Ted. We aim to please, and Eric did aim. And Carl Wisman talking about the toys putting on the Ritz. Lots of color. And Cindy Kemp goes, wow, easy script writing.
Yeah.
Something she knows nothing about because she's got quite the challenge in Animal Eye, available from bearpublications.com. Hashtag always promote your friends. And Lissy says, if it's not going to have a lot of dialogue, the visual storytelling needs to make up for that. Sounds like this one missed that. Would you say that, Eric?
Yeah, I'd say it. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, and actual Hawkins Mignola drew the cover, so please don't throw it, please. Hey,
Too
you
late.
asked for it, dude.
Got it
Too
back.
late.
Here we go.
Oh wow! That's a new
Amazing.
superpower.
It's a boomerang.
That's a new superpower.
Holy cow. Hello, Amy Hale. Mwah. AuthorAmyHale.com.
Amy!
Check out Amy. We love you, Amy. And she's going to be joining us at SalukiCon next month. So please stay tuned. Sign up for my newsletter. Sign for her newsletter. Sign for everyone's newsletter. They're all good for you. So, so thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. All right, my man. And now I will, and see, and Lissy goes, oops. Anyway, thank you, Lissy. Anyway, I'll take the stage. Everyone now can go to the bathroom. And we've got some comics. It was a light week for me as well. I wasn't expecting much, but then again, that's because thanks to Eric, I am logged into leagueofcomicgeeks.com where I can tell pretty much what's coming out. One thing I've been getting on Comixology, which has just revamped its website, is Monkey Prince #2.
I thought you were gonna say monkey meat. Woo.
I did too.
See, I know where the good monkey is.
And by the way, Monkey Meat 3 comes out next week. I will not be buying it.
Don't look at me, kids. I ain't that big a volunteer. But anyway, I am disappointed because I must have missed it for the first issue, but this is a limited series, which I can understand. They're taking a little bit of a gamble on this, but it is the usual goodness from, let me get their names here. And that's one I think I can scroll all the way to the back here and get their names. Jean Luen Yang and Bernard Cheng is the artist. Jean did the writing. Sebastian Cheng did the coloring. Janice Chiang did lettering. She's a longtime Marvel letterer. And Jessica Chen is the editor. So it's a very Asian-centric publication. We learned that monkey prints can fly. Of course, so could Monkey Meat too when Eric's reading it. But in this one, he learns a little bit more about his powers, and he learns that he's getting some jewelry that he can wear anywhere on his body, at least. And it has guest appearance by Robin and Damian Wayne. Really fun interaction with Damian and the Monkey Prince. There's a great scene here where Damian's working for the school newspaper and catches the our young hero transforming in the pool. And Damian says, security footage corroborates the story. This was taken shortly after the man with the monkey face exited the premises. And the other kid goes, you have access to the school's security footage? And Damian goes, that's neither here nor there. So a lot of great humor, a lot of good stuff, very relatable, and I'm giving this a 9.5 out of 10 simply because see, here's the shower scene. Really simply because I'm really liking this. It's very lighthearted, and you see the Monkey Prince has lost his head, but he gets it back. It's a good story. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It moves really quickly. It doesn't say how many issues this is supposed to be, but I think I'm going to be disappointed when it goes away. Like I said, 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. Then other stuff we picked up this week in order. Vampirus Carmilla Collector's Edition 2023 Annual. There's a brand new story featuring the Vampirus in here, as well as reprints, which is kind of funny considering this book started in 2021. And they're already doing like a reprint annual. But if you miss any of the stories, this is a good starting point to get some more of these great stories done in the classic war and comics mode. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. This is really good stuff. Really exciting. Plus, it has some great stories. Two of the writers in here are from the original War and magazines, Don Glut and Lynn Marin. And then our friend Lou Motion wrote some of the others. So please pick that up. Next one I want to talk about is World of Krypton. The third issue came out, I think, last week or so. I'm really enjoying this. It's getting a lot better. The art is still not who I'd have picked. I'd have loved if it looked like this cover, but it doesn't. It's by Michael Lemming, and it's good stuff. Very blocky, a little cartoony, but the story by Robert Venditti is just it's ramping up. It is getting really, really good. As in this issue, General Zod has a problem with what Charles Dickens used to call the surplus population. And so in light of the fact that they have a way to stop the destruction of Krypton's core, it's going to require a lot of energy. And if people would quit using all that dang energy, they might be able to save the planet. So what better way to save energy than to get rid of the users? So General Val Zod has this place called the Phantom Zone that he's dropping them into. So it's a very political story. It's really, really good. I'm giving this like I said, the scripting is really terrific, but I'm not 100% behind the art. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. I really enjoy it, and I'm really enjoying the story, but it's the art that knocked it down a little. Then we've got the final issue of Justice League Incarnate. If this series suffers from anything, it is the fact they've been playing multiple artists, because they're only using 2 in this issue, and the art is good. It is good art. But then they have later on, when they finally locate Barry Allen on Earth Zero, it's very 60s like.
Oh, that's cool.
I could have stood 5 issues of just this guy doing it.
Hmm.
It's very clean, very, very nicely done, very wonderfully rendered. But in this one, Darkseid winds up falling prey to the great darkness. And it turns out that we find out who may be behind the great darkness, and somebody we haven't seen in about 36 years, I think it is, or at least not much. And let's just say that there's a whole lot of dead people in here. If you like dead people, you'll love the ending. But anyway,
Uncle Ben?
Uncle Ben comes back. It is well, Marvel wouldn't do anything with him. Somebody has to,
Right?
So right. But anyway, the next issue in this series is Justice League number 75. Okay, and go and ask your local comic monger to put that back for you. Okay, but anyway, this has been a really good series. Like Checkmate, that everyone loves. I can't say that with a straight face. Anyway, this clearly leads into another series. It doesn't really come to an end to this story. And then after Justice League 75, that's going to pick up with a new limited series. That's going to be another Crisis book. But this has been a very enjoyable read so far. I do recommend it. I give this one a 9 out of 10, simply because the story's been really good. But I look forward to seeing the next part of it. Now, the one I really enjoyed this week was the Blue Flame. The last couple issues have been good, but it's almost like they're kind of spinning their wheels and just waiting to set up something. Well, it starts to blossom in this issue. This is a very emotional issue. As we find out that the gentleman who is the Blue Flame, as he is trying to poke into the mystery of what could happen to the Earth if he fails in his defense, and there's a little teaser of it.
Mhm.
Basically acid rain until nothing's left but a giant stone.
It looks like Pink Floyd takes over.
Yeah,
It
I
does. So when you start reading this, turn on the Wizard of Oz and follow along. You know, you'll find that you'll get to the last page about the time they all start leaving, and basically all that's left is a polished stone when the aliens are done. We find out a little bit more why this guy has survived the destruction of his planet. But meanwhile, while the Blue Flame is getting his next step in mind for saving the Earth, his earthly life is completely falling apart. And we won't show you all that because you should share in his lack of joy. But it's the same team that's been doing every issue so far. This one is definitely ramping up. It has a terrific final page, beautiful covers. And this one's a 10 out of 10 for sure. So definitely pick up the Blue Flame. That's from Vault Comics. Story by Christopher Cantwell. Adam Gorham is the artist. Kurt Michael Russell is the colorist. And Hassan Otsmain Ilhau is the letterer. Thank you all. Yeah, Billy Bob. Anyway, that's the Blue Flame, definite 10 out of 10. And and I made a trip to Ollie's this week, and I picked up. Now, this may not happen in your local Ollie's if you have one, but definitely check it out once a month. They get some great graphic novel remainders there. I picked up volumes 1 and 2 of Wonder Woman Year One by Grant Morrison. It's the only comic where I've ever seen the term science fiction lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
So that's worth the price right there. I got them for $5. They're hardcovers. I got them for $5 a piece. So check your local Ollie's for all kinds of great graphic novels and increase your collection inexpensively. And that is my review for the week, folks.
And what is this place called Ollie's?
That's that thing you don't have.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's I don't know where. If you go to the Ollie's website, you can find a locator, but I know there's not one in Chicago proper.
I think there's one in Mount Vernon according to the website, and
yeah, Mount Vernon just picked one.
Yeah,
picked one up.
Which I didn't know there was one there. That must be a new one somewhere.
Yeah, and I don't think it's from Mount Vernon, but Rick Bradley has one in his town. It's real close to Marion. So definitely.
So again, what is this place called? Ollie's. To me, it's like it served no purpose.
You got big lots near you, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know several big lots, but
kind of like big lots, but
big lots
scale.
5 below, you don't get that. Just
combine those two, and you get an Ollie's. I think I've never been in one, but I've seen the ads and stuff, and people talk about them all the time.
They're
finding
really cool.
packs of comics, and what it is, it's leftover stuff from other stores that didn't sell and stuff.
Yeah, and when Archie or one of the big companies clears out a warehouse or something, I think they also got the stuff from Hastings when they went under. But yeah, they get some really good stuff, and it's kind of fun to get those 10 packs because you might get something, a couple comics from the 80s. You might get something from like every decade, even up to like 6 months ago. And thank you, Clyde Hall. Monkey Prince will be running 12 issues, and I will be sad when it is over. So anyway, appreciate the information, my friend. And here we go. Rad Publishing, give me your address, Eric. I'll send you a copy.
Ooh.
Nope.
copy of what?
Monkey Meat 3.
Yeah.
Why? You don't need no kindling for a fireplace.
That's true.
I ought to just buy it and force you all to listen to me read it page by page.
I'm cool with it.
I'm calling Amnesty International if you do. And Donna Carley says, "Gonna have some monkey balls to go with that monkey meat."
I will tell you, Monkey Ball was an amazing video game.
Yes.
Goofy as hell, but man, we played it for hours.
That sounds like fun. And Amy Hale says Marion has one, and so does Carbondale. Excellent. Well, I've got 2 places to go when I go to Saluki Con. That'll be fun. A-Cuff Creations, I hope everyone has a good night. Thank you, Keisha, for being here. Mwah, we love you. Hope you do well. Follow that lady. She is amazing. And hey, Keisha, says Carl. But anyway, that is the comments. And so with this, the moment that I know everyone has been waiting for.
That's why they're leaving.
No. They're here because it's cool adjacent time.
Right.
There we go. And they're fleeing in in the wake of my review. But now, if you had only stayed, your ears would be getting some warm, soapy goodness, soothed by the dulcet tones of one Clyde Hall and his book review, or his comic book review of this week. Clyde, take it away.
Well, I got more books than I expected, but it proves that I do listen to all of your reviews because I'm still getting Moon Knight. Loving it.
Did you read it yet?
Not yet. I've been so busy this week, I haven't had a chance to. I got a whole bag of comics. I haven't read one of them yet.
It's pretty good. And next week is the Moon Knight Devil's Reign issue 1. So I think that talks about him being in jail.
I might get that. I don't know. I hate it when you have to buy other things.
Yeah, I do too.
Keep up with it, but I did. This is the first Manola book I bought in a long time, and now I wonder if I should. But
hey, it's a quick read. Quick read.
yeah. But just because hearing Brian Rodman talk about it, about Manola in general, excuse me, I wanted to kind of get back in. And this, like you said, this is one of 2. So I thought, well, this would be a nice way to do that.
You could have read it 15 times during my review.
Apparently so. I don't have to read it. I just look at it, apparently. So
just look at the pictures.
And then I read the first issue of this, and yes, I agree. I'll be along for the whole series of this as it keeps this being this good. But but Luang, I mean, that's pretty typical for him. Most of the things he's written, I really, really, really like. Seriously. We had the return of The Nice House on the Lake this week. And that's been on hiatus for a little while, but this is one of the better kind of eerie books that DC has been doing with their Black Label. And because of Brian's love and Joe's love of Earth 3, the last Earth 3 set, I actually sprung for the one.
Yes, you got the war.
And I was still on the fence about it, but it had a Bizarro on the cover, and I'm like, okay, that nudged me over into the I will buy it. And it's one of 2 also. So, but I did not care much for that series, but listening to you talk about it makes me want to try it again. So
Cool.
So, but with that said, I have a book that has, the more I read this second issue, it just tickled me more and more. Although at first it was hard for me to wrap my mind around what they were doing exactly. I think I've got it figured out. I like a lot of the noirish crime stuff, and this book is from AWA, Artists, Writers, and Artisans. It's their Upshot kind of crime imprint, and it's called The Fourth Man. This is issue number 2, and that's going to be my review for this evening. It is 2 of 4 issues. Again, it's AWA Upshot, $3.99 cover price, written by Jeff McComsey. Art is by Mike Deodato Jr. Colors by Lee Lowridge. Letters by Steve Wands. It is rated mature. Now, this review will contain some spoilers for the first issue especially. But most of the content of the second issue, there are some foregone conclusions because all the books are structured in a similar way, but I've tried to leave things to the imagination. While I write for various sites, this is my own independent feature, and it should not be considered representing any views of those sites, including Comic Book Spectrum. So there's a correlation in small towns. The lower the numbers on the population sign, the longer the memory. Scandals and rumors and family feuds and especially murder. In a city, unpleasantries like that kind of blur together from just sheer numbers, but if heinous or widespread enough, they may make headlines sufficient for capturing the fleeting attention of citizenry, but they're very soon pushed aside because there's a lot of people together. In towns, those things define who you are, and murder becomes legend, with the stranger cases finding their way into the local folklore. Rival car dealerships devising an end to their competition with a solution more permanent than bankruptcy, that's definitely an Exhibit A example of that latter case. It's the sort of a murder mystery waiting for readers in The Fourth Man #2. It's part of Artists, Writers, and Artisans Upshot imprint, and let me show you some of the graphics, because the art is at first it was a little off-putting, but it has become a joy unto itself. For one thing, these covers are awesome. Like at the bottom, every one of them has these little nuggets. 3 bodies, 2 detectives, 1 killer, 0 clues. And you have the car dealership sign with somebody dragging a body under it there. Page 1. We just get straight into it. Boom. Autopsy time. As you can see, this fellow's had a run-in with a knife. Each issue deals with one of the 3 bodies until you get to apparently the killer, the 4th man, in issue number 4 when it all wraps up. Now here you get an idea of how the book is actually laid out. It is very, very noir looking, very dark. Even in the morgue chamber that's supposed to have the bright lights.
Very reference heavy.
Very what?
Reference heavy, because it's like one of the people on page 2 looks so much like a movie actor.
Oh yeah, you noticed that, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he in Terminator?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, I think, yeah. The other one looks like
Paul
Harvey
Winfield.
Keitel.
And the other one does look like Harvey Keitel. Yeah. We'll get to that very shortly here. But yes, notice as you go through this, the different. Do you recognize the man on the first page?
I thought that was guy who played Lee Harvey Oswald.
No.
We'll
get to it. We'll get to it. And then we have like meetings in bars, very the dark and seedy underside of this community. I really like that. He does a few of those big long panels. I really appreciate Deodato's take on those. And we do have a little bit of sound effects. Whap. Wham.
I like that group.
Yeah. And then we have some action near the end of the book here where we have an attack going on. But the layout is sufficiently cinematic, I think, for the kind of thing that it tackles. And yes, it looks like it's been cast as a Hollywood film. There's a reason for that, I believe. But the setup is that 3 corpses rest in the morgue of sleepy Medford, Pennsylvania, accumulating there over 3 consecutive days in early 1991. Each individual has been murdered in a different fashion. There are no clues that they are linked, except that deaths in such a small place don't normally come in multiples. End-to-end homicide trifectas are unheard of. So 2 detectives must uncover if the murders were connected, if so, how they were, and who the likely suspects are in an investigation brimming with desperate small-timers, quirky locals, and ducks vying for biggest in the small pond honors. Each issue deals with one of the deceased, starting with the most recently deceased in number 1, working backward. It begins with the fresh bullet-riddled body of minor private investigator James Wells. He has a gambling problem, and the fee for getting photos proving D'Agostino Motors is closing on a contract as a new Kawasaki dealership will not come close to covering the debt that he owes. Fortunately, the owner of rival Romano Motors is willing to pay a lot more for a different kind of service, enough to get Jimmy clear of his money woes. And of course, that was all before he gained 5 pounds of lead weight. In number 2, the detectives and the county coroner consider the second victim, bail bondsman and former U.S. military soldier Shane Wyatt. Now, he is a guy that has connections to our first man. We begin seeing a chronicle of interconnected association between number 1 and number 2 victims. Wyatt was a former Army soldier turned skip tracer, hoping to chuck the bail bond game with a big murder-for-hire payday. The amateurish approach of both of these characters, men driven by different kinds of desperation into such a serious criminal enterprise, is wince-worthy and also darkly funny at times. Both watch their dream payday lessening as available liquidity for the hit dry up, along with Romano's businesses. Yet their need drives them further and further into dark dealings that are way over their head. In the case of Wyatt, he is an ex-grunt who talks with much more military savvy and experience than he actually possesses. He may know some basic infantry tactics, but logistics is not a long suit for him. Ability to find bail jumpers and the qualities required as a successful assassin are not fully congruent, as Wyatt finds out. This point is made very clear when he finds himself on the wrong end of a knife about 12 times. So, next issue, we are to meet the third victim, composing and composting the morgue's current cordwood contingent. By number 4, it's promised the killer will be revealed, and perhaps an additional 2 or 3 more morgue reservations will be filled. Now, writer Jeff Comsey plays the mystery card close to his vest. Other than a distinctive tattoo, clues about the killer remain elusive. It's either a very clever and unobvious whodunit, and I'm missing the clues, or its focus is entirely elsewhere. Because it's following a script that could make great Coen Brothers cinematic crime fare. Dialogue may be more sparse than like Fargo, but the same dark comedic spirit pushes this tale along like a foot through a wood chipper. The main players, mostly the deceased ones, would also make great extras in films like I, Tonya, shawning their way through, if you've seen the movie, shawning their way through grisly situations in search of cash. Or more than cash, maybe just a second chance in life, because their first chances have not been very good. So Macumsey makes them sad, but also comedic. He is helped in maintaining this dark comedic bent by Mike Deodato Jr.'s art. The two have basically cast this film version by making all the major characters look like actors, both working and deceased. And good ones, too. In Deodato's pages, you'll find James Caan as one of the car dealership owners, Harvey Keitel is one of the lead homicide detectives. Ed Harris is a VIP bodyguard. And Paul Winfield, that we talked about, he's the sardonic medical examiner. The victims, however, are where this artistic gamble pays off the best. Expired PI Jimmy Wells in number 1 is Paul Giamatti. Bail agent, I'll prove it. I'll let you look at it here because it's just so good. Also, to show you the cover with the balloon man out front,
with the blood on it.
With the blood, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a nice bit. But here's Paul Giamatti as the deceased.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
that's pig vomit.
I'm sorry?
It's definitely pig vomit from the Howard Stern movie.
Yeah, there you go. So, bail agent Shane Wyatt bears the likeness of the late Bill Paxton. He has longer hair and mustache and stuff, but it's definitely Billy Paxton.
Okay.
At first, this distracted me with issue 1 because Deodato has rendered them so perfectly. But as the story has unfolded, in its minimalist and mindful ways, the charm of the celebrity guests for this kind of cosmic cinematic marriage have struck home solidly. And bonus points, Deodato is so clever. He used the Paxton pictures as Chip from Weird Science to show Wyatt's old Army ID card, and extra points. Lilo Rich brings out the seamier and seedier side of everywhere in that color scheme for the title. Morgues, dive bars, VFW posts, even a daylight burger joint drive-in. They all carry a more disreputable demeanor thanks to his palette of colors. Steve Wands clips the dialogue along nicely with occasional television audio over the characters' reactions as the opening salvos of Operation Desert Storm play across most television screens in the background. The way the broadcast texts are managed, and especially their placement, it lends a feeling that these characters might do better if not constantly distracted by unfolding world events. I don't really think they would, but you have the possibility. There's a lot of things going on in bigger places than their little town. And they do talk about it. It's a topic of conversation with them. He even has Wolf Blitzer do a breaking news story in this number 2. Overall, he uses that to give their ineptitude an added air of believability. They get distracted by this when they really should be having their mind on exactly what they're doing, or else they could end up, well, I don't know, in a drawer, in a morgue someplace, which they do. From tracking the body count from latest backward, it builds a narrative effectively in reverse. And that creative team for the Fourth Man has devised an entertaining crime. Well, I call it a crimedy. It's a comedy of errors with a crime story inserted. And this series is like stumbling across a late night cable offering, and you recognize the faces, you recognize the people in it, and you stay up until 2:00 to finish it. Not because you want to know how it all turns out, but because you want to see just how badly it all turns out. It's the kind of quirky cult movie that you look for in the discount movie bin so you can watch it again and again and again. Probably a lot. So, with that in mind, and I could be coerced into raising my score if there are indeed clues in the background that I've missed. It would be, I don't think so. I'm not a great detective, so I may have missed some things. If that's the case, I will raise my score at least a half point. But my score for the Fourth Man, just because of that quirky cult movie status, issue number 2, 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. Very cool.
Thank you.
I do have a couple of questions here.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Now, both you and I have read a couple of AWA Upshot books. I mean, you're still currently reading Crimson Cage, and I did all 5 issues of Fight Girls.
Oh, okay.
My experience with Fight Girls was not positive.
Mm-hmm.
I know Crimson Cage is, like I said, it's Macbeth.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this one truly lies at? Because it's kind of like it's not neither nor one of those two entities.
I think that it is a quirky little, like I said, a crimedy. It's a crime drama, but it's funny. I could really see this being a Coen Brothers film if it had better dialogue. If it falls short, it's because the story is a little sparse, and his dialogue is not as sharp as a Coen Brothers movie or like Fargo.
Right.
I still really got a thrill out of mostly the artwork and the way he did the narrative backwards. I do like that. That's a nice technique. So I would say I'm really enjoying Crimson Cage too. I would say it's about neck and neck. Both of those are probably not stories that bigger companies would be very interested in. But the fact that AWA is putting it out, and the quality of the art and the quality of the production on this especially, I'm very impressed. I've seen Deodato do superhero stuff. It's beautifully expressive and exciting. This is so different than anything I've ever seen him do. So if it gives them a chance to, stretch a little bit, I'm very much in favor of it. I didn't read the series that you got the full run of. I think Crimson Cage was the first one I got of any AWA stuff, but I will be getting more if it's like this.
Right, because I know
my shop doesn't get any of those books.
Oh wow!
I think I saw it in mine for once. Yeah,
I don't know that mine would, but since I ordered them, they're like, well, there'll be a couple of weird people that'll get this. So we'll order a few.
Yeah.
Hey, I would like to announce.
Yes,
we won. We gave Brian an asthma attack. We did it.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Who had 744?
Oh, I missed it. I just missed it. It must be one of you guys.
I had it 3 weeks ago, so it doesn't count.
What do you want to bet Brian bet on himself?
Oh,
I'm thinking this is rigged. You know what I'm saying?
It's all contingent on him. So yeah, he could rig it for his own benefit.
Let's look back here. Oh yeah, Lunatab. Yeah, I don't think so.
Anyway, Carl Woodsman says it sounds like a cool idea, and yikes, says Cindy Camp. Yeah, that's true. We play for high stakes on this channel, Cindy. That's all there is to it. Can't be weak and be on this show. But anyway, hurry up and get well, Brian. We feel for you, man.
Yes.
I was gonna until he came up. Eric came up with that. I was gonna tell people he got tired of reading about what's going on in Europe, and just decided to end the whole war himself. Just go Captain America on the commies' butt.
I thought maybe he just didn't like us not
liking the Obby suit.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, but thank you very much, Clyde. Another excellent review as always.
Thank you.
As always.
Actually, it kind of makes me think about giving AWA another shot because, like I said, the end of Fight Girls pissed me off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, why not?
I've seen some titles from them that I've been interested in, but my shop never gets them. Yeah, I'm not really that interested to make them order them.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple. Well, they do release them in trades, if you wanted those, but they have been getting some good talent like Deodato and J. Michael Straczynski. They've been getting some really decent talent and some really quirky books, but I usually wind up seeing them on those weeks where I'm like, I don't need another book,
Yeah, and that's how I caught up with Fight Girls because that was a Frank Cho book.
Right? Yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, Frank Cho, that's a special case though, but he's writing it. I want to see him draw it.
Yeah.
No, he well.
I don't think he was.
I have to go back and check. I don't think he drew every last issue of it. He drew some of it. I know he drew a lot of the covers and stuff for it. And
I know he drew the covers,
and some in series, but not all of it. He didn't draw all of it.
Yeah. Well, I loved Liberty Meadows. That was
more about his life. That was more akin to his life. So it's like he was an odd person from the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to admit that his other work, I'm just not real thrilled with his mainstream work. He drew a few issues of the Amadeus Cho Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
The art was okay, but I didn't care for the stories all that much. And then he did that Shanna the She-Devil thing back in aughts, I think it was.
Early 2000s.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Was Shane of the She-Devil, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so divorced from the Shan of the She-Devil, I knew that I just couldn't get into it. So.
His books really aren't to read.
He made a lot of those characters.
Good point, Eric.
He made a lot of those characters look like the characters that he had in Liberty Metals, if you ever paid attention to it.
Oh, I did.
Shane of the She-Devil and even Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, during that time when he was drawing Carol Danvers, looked like not Brandy, but the other one, Jen.
Yeah.
Jen for Liberty Metals. And it's just like, yeah, it was Frank Cho.
Yes.
Frank Cho was drawing.
And there are two big reasons you can tell it's Frank Cho: the clean line work and the attention to detail. But anyway,
and definitely follow Frank Cho on Facebook or Twitter, and he posts all these really cool sketch covers he does.
Also on Instagram. Yeah. Oh, they're hilarious. I love those things. Those are a lot of fun. So anyway, we've done the reviews for tonight, and our usual question guy, Ryan Permison, has a question for us. Now, he just picked up the Supergirl trade paperback, the one that started out as like the Daring New Adventures of Supergirl by Paul Kupperberg and Carmine Infantino, and then it morphed into just Supergirl towards the end, getting closer to like the Crisis thing. Okay, and he would like to know favorite Supergirl trade or issue or storyline.
Okay, I'll go.
Go for it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, I am not a huge DC fan. There's been some stuff I've liked, but Supergirl, really old Supergirl, I have no idea about. Never collected any of it. But I will say, when Michael Turner launched his series before he died, I did like that. That kicked off in Batman versus Superman or Batman and Superman when he was doing that.
Superman, Batman,
it launched into
the curatorial saga of Batman Superman.
Yeah. So that launched into Kira having her own book.
Yeah,
which was pretty. I mean, it was decent. I mean, it was a great book, and the art's really gorgeous to look at.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you can find that in trade. That's from the early 2000s.
I think so. Yeah, and I'm sure that is in trade right now. Yeah. So. Oh, I'm trying to think. There's, seeing as how I remember buying the very, very earliest issues of Supergirl when she was in the backup in Action Comics. I liked a lot of that stuff. I liked the run in Action Comics. It was like in the 360s area, but it was a sequence written by Jim Shooter and drawn by Kurt Schaffenberger, who knows how to draw him some pretty women. Really exciting science fiction stuff. I also like the 10-issue series in the early 70s. That was pretty good with usually Robert Kanigher or Cary Bates and Art Saff usually drawing that, but Vince Coletta. Also loved her Adventure Comics run, especially under Joe Orlando and Mike Sikowski, where her powers turned on and off. And
she changed her uniform fans would submit uniforms, right? Yeah, too.
And some of them were really great uniforms. Then there was one I remember was basically butt floss.
Yeah,
just enough to keep Supergirl legal.
The Comics Code had to think about that one probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. My favorite Supergirl story though was in one of the Christmas with the Superstars books. It was by Alan Brennert and Dick Giordano, and it was after the Crisis. And Deadman, of course, is wandering about, flitting about, thinking how sad he is because he can't, share in the joys of Christmas. And there was this blonde woman that's looking up and going, "Hi, Boston, how you doing?" And he's like, "Well, how can you see me all?" And she won't say who she is, but she says, "You're lucky. What if there was a crisis of some type that wiped you out? And when everything's set up again, no one even remembers, even your family remembers you were alive." And it's a very touching story. And of course, it's Dick Giordano, is beautifully illustrated. So, and Alan Brenner back in those days couldn't do any wrong as far as his writing went. So that's probably my favorite story, and I know that is available somewhere. I know Comixology has that particular issue, so that's kind of I can't decide on which just one though, but I do like the Sikowski era because it was kind of quirky. So, Clyde or Joe, do you have a preference?
Good, Joe.
Not really, because again, Supergirl was not really all that much on my radar. I know before the Batman Superman stuff dealing with Kira Sorrell, I remember that there was a small little story or a story run where they was up here talking about if which Kira was the actual Kira. It's like, was she the clone? What was Power Girl actually Kira Sorrell, or was Supergirl, and which one was the actual clone? And I believe that happened just before what they was doing with the Batman Superman one. That's the one that sticks up in my mind more often. I mean, I go all the way back to like the 90s where they were talking about where they relaunched it. I think it was like the late 90s, like 95, 96, and even that series was not all that remarkable. Per se. I mean, it was just, she was just not one of those characters. But if you ask me which one I would recommend, I was like, you know what? Can't go wrong with the story that they did dealing with her in the Crisis and how she died and why it was the saddest thing to happen. But that's me and how I look at stories.
The Sikowski era, I've forgotten about them. Fans actually submitting uniforms and letting them change it. I like that. I got several of those. I'm not a big Sikowski art fan, wasn't at the time, but I love seeing a super outfit that was different. They couldn't do it with Superman because of all the merchandising, but they could do it with her. And in fact, the one with the kind of the blouse with the big sleeves, the shorts, basically hot pants, and that was one of those, and that stuck for quite a while, several years. So that was fun. The times when you have like Dial H for Hero, where kids or adults could send in ideas for the heroes and the costumes. That's a cool thing. So I like the interaction of that. But I'm kind of like Joe. It's like she never really stuck as a major character to me. I liked it when she was with the Legion of Superheroes back in the 60s and early 70s. And I kept wishing that she would be like a permanent, rather than bring Superboy through all the time. Let her be their super contingent.
Right.
That's where I really liked her best. When she was in one of those, I would normally pick up a Legion story. But to be honest, and I don't know that it's ever been reflected. Oh, one other one too. The Strange Visitor, the android one, that was not bringing Kara back from the dead. So I kind of like that. And then she became her own character. I've only read the first part of that though, so I don't know how it progressed. But I kind of like that idea of her being like a superpowered android, and then they changed her into an angel. I don't know how that goes, but
I just remember that one was by Peter David, and most of the issues were by Gary Frank.
Artwork
good. It wasn't too bad.
Artwork was wonderful, but the whole idea of her being allied with, going from a kind of an android with powers to being that was odd to me. My favorite Supergirl appearances are when she was in Justice League Unlimited, because she is the young and kind of impetuous hero. She and Stargirl have words. She tells Captain Atom, who's in charge of a mission and very militaristic, it's like, why don't you take the stick out, Captain? It's just, I mean, she's very young and hot-tempered at times. For a Kryptonian, that's a very dangerous combination, and she grows as she's in that role. That's one of my favorite, and her and Stargirl would just go back and forth because Stargirl is like, you have all these powers, and
Kara. That was very young Kara.
Yes.
Yes.
But I really like their and they take out a kaiju over Tokyo.
Mhm.
And all the Supergirl fans come out going, we love Supergirl. We love Stargirl goes, my stepdad is a mech. And they're like, mech is so 15 minutes ago. We love Supergirl. And then they end up in one episode, they end up in Skitaris.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out why Supergirl is such a good hero. And even Stargirl is, the playing field is leveled because Supergirl doesn't have her powers there, or doesn't for very long. They begin to dwindle because there's no sunlight in Skitaris.
Right.
But she's still a hero. And even Stargirl has to admit, it's a great storyline in that animated series that shows a growth of a character. I love that, I think, more than any Supergirl story, with the possible exception of Your Christmas one. That was very touching. I read that, I think, last year. That was very good. But I like that. I don't know that iteration has ever been adapted into a comic book in the same way.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, good
I still
comments.
remember from that series, it's like the first time that she met Power Girl, and Power Girl was supposed to be the more adult version of her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how?
yeah.
That was great. That was great. Well, Ryan, thank you for your question as always, and hope you appreciated our answers. And we appreciate Carl Witzman, who's taken off. He's got to go pester the stupid clock, folks. Have fun. Give him hell for us. And let's see.
Throw a couple of comments up because they were talking about the TV series. And,
I'm just getting those. Yeah.
The whole
And
different story.
Yeah, Cindy Kemp wants to know, in the comic, is Supergirl as annoyingly bratty as in the TV show? And
No.
Joe Bachman wonders the same thing. I agree with Joe. No. She's been CW-ized.
No.
Yeah.
The best episode of her on the CW would be her on the Flash in the musical episode.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
I kind of disagree with that because the way that I look at it, there was 2 Supergirl TV shows.
Right.
When it was with CBS.
Oh, yeah.
It
that
was
one season?
Excellent.
That's true.
The first season,
Mm-hmm.
that show was top notch. Why? Because you had Cat Grant knocking her down a peg each and every episode to teach her what's what.
And a budget.
And
a budget.
and a budget. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point, Joe. That's a good point. Lissy says, I like the Matrix Supergirl, but I haven't read any of the Supergirls in years. I remember the Matrix Supergirl. That was great. Last series I tried was in high school, and they kept changing artists and writers, so I told Dad to stop getting it. I understand that. Yeah. Carl Witzman says, the ghost of Carl Witzman says, oh, yeah, I had to stop watching Supergirl, too preachy and political, plus the bratty star. Yes. Cindy Kemp says, yeah, I slogged through a few episodes hoping she'd get a grip, but no, had to reach through the screen and slap her upside the head.
Again,
it's just Kryptonian, and it just hurts. It's just bad.
That's right. You'll hurt your hand.
Season 1 from CBS and then try to come to CW. You would see night and day difference. I love the show with CBS, and I came through 2 seasons with CW, and I just click. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
That seems to be a lot of people's opinion. I mean, once it hit CW, it did get bad. I didn't get through the first season on CW, but a lot of people it keeps coming on.
That's true. And the thing is, I think Melissa Benoist made a great Supergirl. But she just needed better scripts to work with, I think. And Lissy clarifies, by Matrix, I mean when she merged with Linda Danvers. Mm-hmm. It's been really long.
Yeah.
Anyway, and later's everyone, fun show. Thank you, Donna. Mwah, love you for being here. And Rick Bradley at Rad Publishing says, Dial H for Hero. Each episode, they had different heroes that were submitted by readers, and every issue. In fact, I have a good friend back in Champaign, back in Illinois, who actually got one of his heroes accepted during the Adventure Comics run.
Oh, cool!
And he got a nice T-shirt with the logo of the series on it. It said, "I dialed H for Hero."
I remember seeing pictures of those shirts. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tom Reed. Good man. Anyway, and we were all very envious of him, but as well we should have been. But that appears to be the comments. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. Now, Eric, are we going to talk about that thing we talked about earlier in the private chat?
No, I don't care about that really.
Okay, then we won't. Anyway.
I'll just wait.
Okay,
but we can talk about, if you want to talk about the other one where we talked about AMC charging more for Batman.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it was said, I believe today, that the AMC theater group is going, when you go see Batman and you compare it to something else in the theater, you're going to get a little sticker shock because they're charging more for you to see Batman than anything else in the theater.
They call it an experiment to see how revenues go with movies that they expect to do very well. By going ahead and just, like in our little area, we only have one theater. It's an AMC. So we don't have choices like you guys that live in bigger places. Mm-hmm. And in places like that, they're limiting it. Like here, it's $1 more.
Mm-hmm.
So most people, I figured, would grumble. But I heard people talking about it today. It came up while I was getting my haircut, and people began talking about it. And it's like the last straw thing for them. They're like, no, we're not going. They can just stream it. I'm not going. And normally I would think, yeah, they will when they hear their friends. But they were running down all the stuff they're paying more for right now. And the idea that they're just doing this as a experiment because we can, it pissed them off to where they're like, no, that's where I draw the line. Now I got to looking, and the different shows, like if you don't go at the times that are the most popular, they're the regular price.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just across the board, but now like the things that Eric showed us today, that's like $5 difference.
There was a $5 difference between seeing that and Uncharted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
At
were those,
the same
I can't
time,
remember,
I was like, yeah.
Were those prices, Eric, from like the St. Louis area theaters or from the Alton area? Okay. Oh, okay.
Well, all the St. Louis area.
Okay, well, yeah. Because St. Louis is a suburb of Alton, Illinois. So, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Of course, I don't go to see many films in the theater. So, I usually just wait for the DVD to come out.
You're making me scared to even look at it here because not only would it be like per AMC one way or the other, it also going to become which AMC theater you see it, especially if it's somewhere near like the Loop or the downtown area.
Right.
He's talking about 5. It could be closer to 10 or 20.
Oof. What's the ticket? What's a normal ticket price there, roughly, Joe?
I haven't been to a theater in a bit, but I believe the average ticket price is somewhere between 10 to 15.
Okay.
Well, it's probably higher now because the AMC I looked up today was charging 17 something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
For Batman.
So that mean that probably been like the one that I know about downtown with all the specialized seating and everything probably be somewhere between $20 to $25.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to say I am spoiled. I want my recliner in my heated seat.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. I should probably see what they're charging here in Lafayette, Indiana. We've got 1, 2, 3 theaters here, I believe. 1 in West Lafayette and 2 in Lafayette proper. But I may have to do some investigation on that, see what they're charging. So, but I can't say that I'm a big fan of that either. I'm looking forward to the lawsuit by Robert Pattinson.
Well, I just look at it at those type of prices. I'm like Clyde. I'm more like Clyde. It's like I could wait until it comes out on Blu-ray because if I pay $25 for it, might as well kick in the extra $4 to $5, and I can get it on a disc that I could play over and over and over again at my leisure instead of just seeing it that one time.
Yeah.
And if Warner goes, great, they'll save their money and they'll buy it on Blu-ray and we'll make more money. I'll be like, no, I'm going to get it from the library. So there, yeah.
You'll show that by Jingo. Good man.
Just depends on how they publicly play it. But yeah, if they get real snooty about it, well, fine. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cindy Kemp says, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie in a theater like The Hobbit, and it sounds like it'll be longer, but then so many movies flash these days. I roll.
Joe, at the AMC River East 21, it is $20.69.
Yeah. You called it.
$17.69 for a child.
Can you imagine a family of 4 going to see that movie and then getting the overpriced concession stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That's a page. That's almost
like filling your tank right now.
Yeah. Yeah. A little aside, I saw a beautiful meme from one of my friends in Metropolis, Illinois. She said, I don't normally go someplace expensive, but Friday I'm going to the gas station.
One of my friends paid her power bill and said, well, I'm glad that I've managed to pay the power bill for the month and I now have a warm place to starve. Because she didn't know for sure how she was gonna. The grocery expenditures on her budget were apparently pretty meager when she got down to all of her utilities being paid.
That's a shame. Oh man. Well, we understand. Hopefully this will reverse itself sometime soon. And my stepmom used to carry a big old purse, and she and Dad brought in snacks as handicap. Yeah, you see, my problem.
Yeah.
Good work. Well, you see, my problem is I have to stop drinking in the morning. I can only have like 1 cup of coffee if I plan to go to the movie theater. Because when I'm going to pay those kind of prices, I am not taking a bathroom break. Mm-hmm. I'm taking my Hail Pill with me. You know what I'm saying?
Jennifer and I went and saw Ghostbusters. It was, I believe it was like $70. For the 2 of us for tickets and get popcorn and sodas.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
See, that's why if you can, always plan to go to the movie theaters in the winter. Why? Because you got a winter coat. What do you do with that winter coat? Fill it up because, again, a heavy coat in the middle of winter, they're not going to tell you. It's like, okay, it's cold outside, this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, I got my roast beef sandwich, I got my chips, I got 2 cans of soda over here.
Get security. It's July, and that guy's got a coat. I think he's got a weapon. Oh no, he has a side of beef and a loaf of bread and ice cream and
a convection oven and. Rad Publishing says if you like Bad B horror movies and the Foo Fighters, you'll love Studio 666. I want to see that. Went and saw it in the theater with a friend, and it was great. It stars the Foo Fighters, and it's kind of like a Rob Zombie type ghost movie without the blood and everything. And it's based. Some of it is based on some real life things. Dave Grohl was on Hot Ones last week, and he is incredibly funny on that. Lissy says movies don't even make it worth the price anymore. Yeah, that's the truth. It's true. Now that you can still shop around, and occasionally you'll find some theaters that don't charge that much. We're fortunate; we've got 2 of them in this area. There's a single screen about a half hour from where we live, but they show like 1 movie. And they only run like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's volunteer run is the thing because it's a renovated theater in Fowler, Illinois, real close to Nick Tucker. But the thing is, if they can't gain volunteers, they don't open. And we went there one weekend to see a movie, never been inside. And they decided not to have anybody show up to open the theater up. So, or put it on their website or anything. So, we went to another one and they had it for like $6. So it was it wasn't Mary Poppins. What was it? I can't remember the movie we saw now. That's how good it was. So
wow.
But now we do have one of those budget AMCs or whatever Clyde was talking about here in the area too, and their Batman was only $7.25. But it's in the old smaller seats, don't recline.
Yeah.
Classic. They call them
the classic.
AMC classics, not AMC decrepit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not decrepit. No sticky floors, from spilled soda and everything.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
They make you clean it up. Lizzie says we do have a local theater. It's $5 for all shows on Tuesday, though. It's pretty small. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have one like in Crawfordsville that most of their shows are like $5 or $6, but you have to be there before 5 o'clock, sort of thing. So, but anyway, so start planning now. Skip groceries for a couple weeks, and you can go see Batman. Okay, so and Noah Leapman. Have a nice life,
or pirate it,
or be like me. Wait for the Blu-ray.
There we go. Oh, we don't
And
endorse that, Eric.
If you're good, you can catch it on
Anymore.
sale and pay less than that ticket price that you paid for the $20-something.
True.
No joke. You could probably get a 4K Blu-ray for the price of a ticket now. Good God. Wow. So,
And you know what? My fear is that others will go, "Oh, we're Disney. Hold our beer.
yeah.
Watch this."
You think you can price Warner Brothers? Look at what we're gonna do.
It won't take long. I mean, they'll keep the prices up because they've been able to do that with everything else.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's this thing about where they could raise the price, and I can see like maybe in a year or two, assuming that the people still will go to the theater just to see the movie. You raise, let's say, a ticket price up to $25 for a Batman. Then you bring up then you bring in something later, make it say 28, and then you make everything across the board 25, and say, look at all the money you're saving now. So
again, like I said, I know of places where you could go in and you pay $30. If that $30 paid for your meal plus the movie ticket plus your seats and everything, is more of like an experience.
Right.
Okay.
They're getting away from that. At least from my experience here, they're getting away from that. It's like now they want that $20 to $25 just to get in the door. And it's like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, the thing is, I've done the research and I understand why, like, the food is so expensive there. Because whether people watching know it or not, when the receipts come in from the ticket prices, they have to ship that off to the distributor, who then holds on to it for a couple weeks, then sends them back like 10%.
Right.
And then the second week that the movie is there, then it's 20, and it goes up to like, I think 40% for most films after about a month or so. And that's why they decided to like increase the price of concessions, because then they've got immediate profit right then and there. And that's what helps keep the doors open, unfortunately. So then this is one of the many reasons why I don't go to the movies anymore. I remember back in the day when I lived in Champaign, we had like a dozen theaters in Champaign, Illinois. And on my day off, I'd get an all-day bus pass and plan it like a military excursion. And I'd drive I'd ride the bus all over cities, and I could catch like 4 movies in a day if I did it right. The last movie I might have to walk home from across town, but at least I got to see it. So, and still buy concessions too. So, but that's a long time ago.
But that makes me think about the whole thing about why drive-in should make a comeback.
Yeah. I would like to see that. And we've got one drive-in in our area in Rossville, Indiana.
We got one here, and they'll show current movies every week. And of course, they're not open during the winter, but they stay open through October, I think. Probably first week in November, second week in November, they shut down because they do show horror movies through October. I think it was a couple of years ago we went and saw Smokey and Bandit there because they're showing that.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Well, yeah, and there's the one up in Rossville has like, I think 2 screens, and there's one near where I used to live in Illinois that has 3 screens. And it's like, you tune your radio, and that's how you catch which screen you want to get the soundtrack for, which I agree. I'd love to see drive-ins make a comeback.
Because that way you could cater your own experience. And again, the proprietor doesn't really have to worry about concessions, because as long as it meets the requirements of you getting in, it'd be one thing here.
That's true. That's a good.
Yeah,
point.
we'd stop and get pizza usually anytime we go to one. But we still want some of that stale, salty popcorn.
Can't live without that.
Covered in that artificial butter.
Yeah, true. Rad Publishing says, I wish they would do more things in the theater. Have theme nights, show movies from way back in the day like Dracula or good old other movies. There are some places that do it. There was a place called the Virginia. I lived about 3 blocks from it in Champaign. It's now a children's museum. But for a couple of years, it was owned by a Chicago couple who would have themes, and like you might have foreign language day. Then the next time it'd be like science fiction day, and it'd last like they'd have like 3 different features in a week.
I always wanted to go to one of those. Like usually it's a renovated or a historic theater, and they'll put on they'll have a noir night, and you go and you dress up in the same styles of the 40s and stuff.
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I've seen that in a couple. I have some friends that sent pictures of going to a few of those, and I always thought that would be a fun experience.
Well, we have a theater in Edwardsville, the Wiley. They'll show, they have smaller concerts there and all kinds of stuff, but they also show older movies like on Friday and Saturday night too. I don't know how old they go, but I know Jennifer took a couple of grandkids to go see the first Harry Potter there just a few weeks ago because they were showing that. Yeah.
That's cool.
You just have to catch what they're going to be showing, and it's only for they showed Christmas Story back during Christmas and stuff like that. And I think my wife just showed up.
A clarification, that is not Jennifer.
Right.
I'm trying to save you here.
And to be quite honest, it really depends on whether or not you're dealing with a franchise theater or not. Because the privately owned ones, that's exactly what they do. I mean, even the city of Chicago has what is called Movies in the Park, and they play theme movies at like the bigger parks, like Millennium Park and Grant Park and stuff like that on the big screen and everything. And there's certain nights that you could go and you grab your blanket and stuff and go out there and watch the movie. And it's like free for people to go and watch.
That's nice. That's very cool. Rad Publishing says the drive-in over in Marion, Illinois is basically an RV farm, and the screen is a billboard, and I don't think they ever showed a movie on it. Well, that way the screen stays fresh. There's no eye scratches on it.
Okay, the dog stopped barking. St. Louis also has that at Forest Park on Art Hill. It's a giant hill, and they put up an inflatable screen in the summer, and for like a month they'll show older movies and stuff. You just take a blanket out there, sit on the hill. They have food trucks park up top of the hill. You can go eat and stuff, and it's all free. Well, not the food; you have to pay for food, but watch the movie. It's free. Yeah,
that's very cool.
That's nice.
I like that. That's a great experience there. That's super. So now that we've bitched about theater prices, it makes you appreciate comics all the more because they're a lot less expensive, and you can read them over and over and over again, fanboys and girls. So.
And you can have your celebrities too. So
there you go. See? So pick up that comic, and you can see your favorite stars in one unauthorized comic book. So anyway, so gentlemen, thank you very much.
Yes,
it's been a lot of fun as usual.
Oh, yeah,
and
Eric, what are we drawing tonight?
Nothing.
Really,
Chester. Okay, so the host of the channel, Chester C. Busby, he actually lives in Japan in a small fishing village, which he'll tell you. But he also has a school there and runs a couple businesses. He'll say he's a professor of English, but it's his school. He runs it and all this, and he has other businesses. He has meetings all this week, so yeah, he won't be able to do it because there's quite a bit of a time difference from here and there.
Yeah.
So.
I can see that. Yeah.
So we're taking a week off. All the shows on the channel took a hiatus for this week.
Okay.
Well, put up your own original stuff so we can vote for it anyway.
Extra time for you to work on pages. I say extra time for you to work on pages.
Exactly. That's what I thought because last week during this show I got an entire page penciled.
Well, he's ignoring the rest of us. Yes.
This week I've almost got an entire page inked, and it's a different page.
Productivity, I like it. And Rick Radley says a likely excuse: they're scared of the Pro Slayer.
That they are, yes.
I'm sure.
But when we do return next week, we are doing. I can't remember the name of the book, but it's someone else's novel. He has a series of novels, something Revenant, and it's like a fantasy book. So we're going to do the characters from his book.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Okay.
Sounds like fun.
Oh, question for you here, Mr. Morris. Did you ever get through reading Amazonia #1?
No, I got an editing assignment that I got caught doing that. And this has been a difficult manuscript. But and then now here's the other part. I had to take a break from that because Cookie I think I mentioned it earlier. Cookie is editing an anthology for Prose Press, and I have a story in there. Do you know what it's like to sit there with your editor, and she's across the room going, "Oh God," and you're like, "Is that mine? Is that mine?" And so it's a little nerve wracking, but I had to do rewrites on this story because she kept, I don't like this part. You got to change it right now. So
who edits the editor?
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that took an inordinate amount of time, unfortunately, because she kept having suggestions. Damn it. But no, it's a good story now. And so I had to take a day out. And so I'm hoping tomorrow I'll get that off. And I do want to finish Amazonia, but I like so far what I'm reading. So
it's like, this is the thing. And it's weird because those who read it, love it because it's character driven.
That's how I would describe it. Yeah, there's in the first, I think I've gotten about halfway through, no, better than halfway through, but it's, there's a lot of dialogue, but it's very natural. And like you said, it's very character driven, which I really appreciate. And, I expect a certain amount of talkiness in the first issue because you're introducing everyone, setting up the relationships, but I'm already invested in it. So I'm really enjoying it. But I'll give you a full report when I finally get that done.
Right. And trust me, if you could get to like issue 5, it makes a lot more sense as far as what actually happened and the reconciliation that is being looked for.
Okay.
However, it still doesn't explain the town. So I'm still, that's the part that the way that my elevator pitch for it is the fact that you got a woman who is in their teens that eventually got accused of murder, coming back for reconciliation. Can the town actually forgive her, especially now since she's even more powerful than she was before she left?
Yeah.
But the town is up under siege by this business mogul. And we find out a lot more about the town than what most people bargain for.
So the town itself is almost a character in itself, right? Yeah. I dig it. Yeah, I definitely plan to get the whole series. So, but like I said, I'm enjoying it so far, and I'll give you a full report when I'm done. I just got to get through this novel. So anyway, hashtag real writer problems, right? But anyway, so it's been another fun episode. So let's go around the room here, and everybody tell our audience how they can keep up with you, if they can. I know you'll leave them in the dust, but how can they keep up with your exploits? Let's start out with Joe D. McFee here, and we'll go around the room. Okay? Joe.
Now, this time I made it simple. Guess what I have on the screen? Right there. That's a link tree that has everything there. Everything, including where you could watch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher Saturday, where we're going to have Glenn B. Fleming on. So you're going to watch that. You're going to see about his brand new book and DVD series for Jack Kirby. And it's finally out and it's doing gangbusters. I think he's like 1 or 2 backers away from being fully funded as of right now. So when you come Saturday, you could look at the link down there for the show and watch and get more educated about that campaign and more educated about him as a whole here. But that's the fastest way to get in contact with me outside of this, my show here. And Linktree has all of my links there, whether it be Facebook, DeviantArt, everything. So made it simple. Just remember linktr.ee/Silvo.
Excellent. Part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. One of us has got to say it. Anyway, thank you, Joe. As always, my friend. Thank you so much.
Hashtag always promote the network.
Exactly. And also a vital part of this network is Eric S. Hawkins. Eric, how can people keep up with you, sir?
Well, first of all, any article regarding comics you find on Facebook or Twitter or Google, check the date. Because you might find an interesting story that teases something you might enjoy. Get to the comic shop, then look the article back up and find it's from July, and just get aggravated.
So, is this a voice of painful experience?
I was hoping to have the pre-launch page for Zombie World of Oz #4 here, ready to go. The Kickstarter side, they wanted to review my project, which they've never done before. So maybe next week, hopefully next week. But it's launching soon. The actual date's going to be April 8th, but we're going to launch the pre-launch page where you can sign up so you get notified the second it goes. Because like before, I will have early bird specials, early bird catch-up specials, the bust limited to 10.
Nice.
Hardback, metal covers, all kinds of crap. But you can follow me on any social media. Just look for my name and you'll find me there. And and Thursday nights, find me here.
Beautiful.
Especially next week. I think there's a lot of comics coming out for me next week.
Ooh, that's exciting. Cool. So 45 minutes of the show next week will be Eric's comics. It'll be good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. You. All right. And Mr. Clyde Hall, how can people keep up with you?
Well, first, since he's not here, do follow Brian Rodman on Patreon, because I've been enjoying his adventures with his young relatives and bringing up a group of new comic book readers, a new generation, as Joe said earlier. So look up Brian Rodman and the art of Brian Rodman on a Patreon account and subscribe. It's been a lot of fun to see what he's doing with some young comic book readers and future creatives. But for me, you can find me on Facebook under Clyde Hall, or Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall. And you can find me on Twitter under CJ Hall 1984. You can find me with their other reviews each week at www.doomrocket.com, www.comicsbookcase.com. You can find some of my written work in the Pulp Reality series from Stormgate Press. This is number 3, but I am also featured in number 1 and number 2, and they are all available on Amazon. But you should go to their website, www.stormgatepress.com, so you can see all of the new pulp goodness and other genres of storytelling that Charles F. Millhouse and company have made available to you. And then on Thursdays, of course, tune in here for Comic Book Spectrum. And we will see next week how soon Brian has to take a break because we have made him laugh too hard.
And hopefully the rest of our audience as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Clyde. Thank you so very much, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for allowing yourself to be had.
Well, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
That's right. Exactly. And so I'm Brian K. Morris. If you want to follow me, I'm on Facebook mostly, doing a little more with Twitter now. God help me. And we're also at risingtide.pub, where you can sign for my free monthly newsletter. Next issue goes out 1st of April. Has our convention appearances, one of which will be this coming Saturday from, I don't have the times, but I think it's like 10 till 6. And we will be at the Baymont by Wyndham at 1709 East Lincoln Road at CocomoCon in Kokomo, Indiana. Please come see us. It's going to be a great time. Molly Daniels, the author Molly Daniels, will be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we've got some more comments here. Rad Publishing saying, everyone take care and stay creative. Thank you, Rick Bradley. Much appreciated. And Cindy Kemp, thanks for hosting the adventure. Thank you, Cindy. Mwah. CKOEPP.com. Check that out. Sign for her free monthly newsletter. And Ted Davies Artistry. Great show, gentlemen. Much success to you all. Check out TedDaviesArtistry.com. Also, Ted Davies Artistry on Facebook and on YouTube. And check out his great broadcasting. Also a part of the Rising Tide Network. And what else we got going here? We've got a couple new books out on Amazon. The Lost Adventures of Captain Hawkland, The Skyhook Remnant, and Oof Boff Splat, an examination of the 3rd season of the Batman 66 TV show. Please pick them up. Both available on Amazon. And we'll be back tomorrow morning on Nevermind the Furthermore at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And then we'll be back, of course, next week on another episode of Comic Book Spectrum. But first, we got to say thank you to our sponsor, and that's Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. If you want a great cover like the ones you just saw, then contact Jeffrey Hayes. First, go to the Facebook page for Plasma Fire Graphics and look at all those great samples. Then go to plasmafiregraphics.com and you can directly ask Jeffrey, what are your rates for independent creators? You're going to be astounded at how reasonable they are. That's plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasma Fire Graphics on the look of your book matters to you because it definitely matters to your readers. This is a Rising Tide Broadcasting Network production. And be sure to go over to Stupid O'Clock and give them some love. Great geek talk for the next couple of hours, followed by Dan Hollifield's Last Man Standing. Then a full schedule there, but you can download the schedule over on our Facebook page for the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Also, don't forget Patreon. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers. And if you want to see your name on the show, then check out what we offer for your monthly contribution at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow morning with never mind the furthermore. We'll talk about what you want to talk about, be the special Friday episode, yay. And also we'll be back next week on another episode of Comic Book Spectrum. So as always, folks, as usual, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great week, everyone, and read more comics, darn it, will ya? See you next week on Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the furthermore. See you next week.